Can you feel it? That electric hum of anticipation? The nail-biting tension that grips an entire franchise when its future hangs precariously in the balance? For months, the Golden State Warriors and their promising young star, Jonathan Kuminga, were locked in a high-stakes game of contractual poker, a standoff that threatened to unravel the very fabric of their championship aspirations. But now, as training camp kicks off, a deal is done. The question, the one that reverberates through the Bay Area and beyond, is this: did the Warriors truly secure their next-generation cornerstone, or have they merely bought themselves a temporary reprieve in a saga far from over? When the final buzzer sounded on the 2024-25 season, a campaign that ended abruptly with Stephen Curry's hamstring injury and a Western Conference semifinals exit at the hands of the Minnesota Timberwolves, all eyes immediately pivoted to the looming offseason. The future of the Golden State Warriors, a dynasty built on the shoulders of legends, felt unusually fragile. With Stephen Curry now 37, Jimmy Butler 36, and Draymond Green 35, the sands of time are undeniably running out for this iconic trio. Their collective desire for one more shot at glory was palpable, making the retention of a talent like Jonathan Kaminga not just important, but absolutely essential. Kaminga, who burst into the league as a raw, athletic 19-year-old in 2021, has steadily grown into a formidable downhill attacker. Now, 22, he was not just another player in the eyes of owner Joe Lacob and the Warriors brass. He was viewed as a vital long-term building block, the kind of player who could seamlessly transition to lead the franchise once the current generation of stars eventually hangs up their sneakers. Lacob, known for his strong relationships with his players, held a particular affinity for Kuminga, a prized possession since his selection 7th overall in the 2021 NBA draft. This personal connection, however, only amplified the drama as Kuminga entered restricted free agency, having failed to secure a long-term deal before the 2024-25 season. Would Kuminga return to the Warriors, or was this the bitter end of a 4-year tenure marked by flashes of brilliance, but also a consistent feeling of underutilization under head coach Steve Kerr? One thing was certain: Lacob and the front office were absolutely unwilling to let Kuminga walk away for nothing. And so the stage was set for a summer of intense negotiation. For 3 grueling months, neither side blinked, neither side budged. It was a test of wills, a stare down that left the Warriors faithful on edge. But ultimately, Lacob got his wish. A collective sigh of relief swept through the Golden State organization as training camp began. It wasn't just the arrival of key free agent additions like Al Horford and Anthony Melton that brought comfort. It was primarily Kuminga's return to the team facility for his first practice. Instead of accepting his qualifying offer, a tactic he and his agent, Aaron Turner of Virtus Basketball, had wielded as a persistent, albeit ultimately empty, threat, Kuminga agreed to a new 2-year, $46.8 million contract. This unique deal includes a team option and a 15% trade kicker, meaning the contract could swell to $48.5 million over 2 years if he's traded. This contract is a fascinating piece of business, offering both Kuminga and the Warriors a peculiar blend of stability and flexibility. It allowed Kuminga to return without the dark cloud of a qualifying offer looming over the organization, a scenario that would have been detrimental to all parties involved. More importantly for Golden State, it keeps a multitude of options on the table. General Manager Mike Dunleavy Jr. could finally breathe easy, his attention now fully focused on positioning the team for a potential run at the 2026 NBA Finals. We've got everything signed, sealed, delivered roster-wise. I'm pretty excited about this group, and this season, Dunleavy confidently told reporters, "I feel like we made some really good additions and have some really good key returning players. My headline is this team, heading into the season, has got a great shot." Dunleavy's optimism, of course, is largely fueled by securing Kuminga's commitment. This new deal not only ensures Kuminga remains a focal point behind the Warriors' aging stars, but also effectively transforms him into a $22.5 million trade exception at their disposal. The underlying philosophy of this 1+1 contract is clear. Whether Kuminga stays in Golden State or is traded, he will have the opportunity to re-enter free agency in 2026 and dictate his own future. It became evident that the Warriors needed more time to definitively decide on Kuminga's long-term role, and this contract provides them with over 4 crucial months before the trade deadline to make that assessment. Yet, the path to this agreement was anything but smooth, forcing the Warriors to endure an off-season on the precipice. As free agency officially opened on June 30th, Kuminga's prospects of returning to the Warriors appeared bleak. Dunleavy and the organization were openly exploring all options in the trade market, and Kuminga's restricted free agent status allowed Golden State to operate without immediate concern regarding other teams' pursuits. The reality of the NBA's financial landscape, however, played a significant role. Few teams possessed the cap space to offer Kuminga a contract exceeding $20 million per season, and even fewer genuinely expressed interest in pursuing such a scenario. Sources close to the negotiations confirmed that at no point did any team seriously explore signing Kuminga to an offer sheet which the Warriors were prepared to match. Kuminga himself was wary of locking into an unavoidable contract that would prevent him from testing his true market value. Compounding this was a weak free agent class and widespread caution among teams regarding spending amidst tax apron fears, leading to a remarkably dry market for all restricted free agents. Players like Cam Thomas and Quentin Grimes ultimately accepted their qualifying offers, and it wasn't until mid-September that Josh Giddey and the Chicago Bulls finally agreed on a 4-year, $100 million deal. Kaminga remained the last major domino to fall, and the outcome of this protracted stare-down would undeniably shape the Warriors' immediate future. Kuminga's side repeatedly used the threat of accepting his qualifying offer as leverage during negotiations. However, Dunleavy and the Dubs' front office never once believed this was a realistic path for the 22-year-old. It was a bluff they were prepared to call, no matter how long negotiations dragged on. While the Warriors did explore Kuminga's sign-and-trade market, a path that proved virtually impossible without sacrificing additional assets due to cap restraints. Many within the organization, including Lacob, were adamant about bringing Kuminga back on a short-term deal. Multiple league sources indicated that the majority of the organization wasn't ready to part ways with Kuminga, especially after he showcased his immense potential in their recent playoff series against the Minnesota Timberwolves. His athleticism and slashing abilities were seen as crucial complements to their stars, essential for the team to once again become a championship threat. After all, the Warriors' 2022 title run featured similar characteristics from Andrew Wiggins, a vital 3, and D. Slasher, who consistently delivered defensively and on the boards in the playoffs. This was precisely the role Golden State had been grooming Kuminga for over the past few years, a situation that had at times caused frustration for the young forward who felt his full potential was being stifled. His inconsistent role and the Warriors' unwavering stance on leverage meant negotiations stalled throughout the summer. Even before the NBA's Summer League, a 2-year, $45 million contract with a team option and Kuminga waiving his no-trade clause was on the table. Around this time, Kuminga was reportedly meeting with other teams, notably the Sacramento Kings, holding out hope for sign-and-trade. Yet, the Dubs and Dunleavy still envisioned a path to an eventual agreement. Weeks passed after Summer League with no deal in sight. It wasn't until mid-August that the two sides finally met face-to-face. In Miami, Kuminga, his agent, and the Warriors' brain trust, including Dunleavy and Lacob, convened, hoping to finally put an end to the off-season holdout. Right away, Kuminga's camp made it unequivocally clear the 2-year, $45 million contract was a non-starter. It granted the organization too much control. Turner informed Dunleavy and Lacob that they would sign the deal on the spot if it included a player option, flipping the control in Kuminga's favor. But sources confirmed the Warriors never once considered such a concession. Golden State was already offering Kuminga more money for the 2025-26 season than any other team would have via sign-and-trade, and the opportunity to continue developing with the team he had worked so hard for over his first 4 years was a key selling point for the organization. It was during this pivotal meeting that Lacob and his team directly asked Kuminga if he truly wanted to remain with the Warriors. As the saga unfolded, Kuminga's now famous response echoed, "Do you even want me here?" From Kuminga's perspective, he sought respect and felt the 2-year proposal, without a player option, made him feel like a mere commodity. No deal was reached in Miami, and it seemed the two sides were back to square one, with Kuminga signaling his desire to move on. As free agency began, the sentiment around the league regarding Kuminga was consistent. Rival teams knew he yearned for a fresh start, a place where he could unleash his full potential. Kaminga continued to signal his willingness to bet on himself by accepting the qualifying offer, his only real leverage in the discussions. Was this all a calculated ploy by Kaminga's side to extract the best possible deal from Golden State? Perhaps as negotiations dragged on. But in the early stages, it certainly appeared as if Kaminga had one foot out the door. Once Labor Day passed in early September, and Giddey's deal with the Bulls was finalized, a palpable sense of urgency enveloped the Warriors. Free agents like Al Horford, D'Anthony Melton, and Gary Payton II were all waiting to sign deals that had been verbally agreed upon months earlier. The Warriors also began to feel pressure from their own stars, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Jimmy Butler, all of whom demanded clarity on the situation. Throughout August and September, the trio was in constant communication with Dunleavy, Lacob, and other high-ranking front office officials. All three advocated for Kuminga's return, with Green, in particular, serving as a key mentor and supporter behind the scenes. With the October 1st qualifying offer deadline fast approaching, the Warriors had three offers on the table: a 2-year, $45 million contract with a team option, a 3-year, approximately $54 million contract with no options, and a 3-year, $75 million contract with a team option. Kuminga and his agent remained steadfast in their demand for a player option, believing it was only fair given he was taking less money up front to help the Warriors financially and the high probability he would be used as a trade chip. The Warriors, however, were never going to offer a player option on any of the deals. It was then that Dunleavy and his team made one final proposal: a 2-year, $46.8 million contract with a team option and a 15% trade kicker, which would see his contract rise to $48.5 million over 2 seasons. Essentially, the team option on this deal acts as a crossroads, allowing Kuminga and whatever team he is with to decide if his cap hit is worthwhile and whether he should become an unrestricted free agent. The core premise of this contract was Kuminga's return as a key contributor, while also granting him some leverage and control over his immediate future, rather than being locked into a long-term deal. Should things sour in Golden State, Kuminga would have a clear path to free agency and the ability to choose his next destination. A deal was finally reached, handshakes were made, and Kuminga was all smiles on Thursday for his first day of training camp. "It's a business," Kaminga told reporters. "At the end of the day, all that matters is that we got it done, and I am excited to be here." When pressed on his long-term aspirations, Kuminga affirmed that it's everybody's goal to be somewhere long-term, and that's what he aims to accomplish with Golden State. While Kuminga is back with the Warriors on a new deal and has said all the right things since joining the team for training camp, it doesn't erase the past or the tumultuous offseason. There were multiple junctures where a sign-and-trade was presented to the Warriors, and in the grand scheme of things, this new contract still affords Dunleavy and company the option of exploring Kuminga's potential on the trade market. Sources indicated that the Warriors were never truly close to giving up Kuminga in a sign-and-trade. While the organization entertained discussions with multiple teams, the value Golden State sought simply never materialized this offseason. 2 teams were at the forefront of discussions regarding Kaminga becoming a key starter for them via a sign-and-trade: the Sacramento Kings and the Phoenix Suns. While the Suns had little to offer beyond Royce O'Neal and second-round assets, the Kings were notably aggressive in their pursuit. Sacramento envisioned a long-term future for Kaminga, and the young forward was reportedly highly interested in what new general manager Scott Perry was pitching during the Kings' early free agency presentation. The Kings felt confident in their position to land Kuminga, but Golden State wasn't swayed. After an initial offer of Dario Saric, Devin Carter, and a heavily protected first-round pick, the Kings upped their ante to Malik Monk and a protected future first-round pick. While Monk has consistently been a strong sixth-man type player, the Dubs had little interest for a multitude of reasons. The Warriors knew they were bringing back Melton, and at the time of this offer, there was strong momentum for Peyton's return. With Brandon Podziemski and Buddy Hield also holding key roles, adding Monk would create an instant logjam of guards. Many within the organization questioned his fit as anything more than a catch-and-shoot option. Furthermore, for a Kaminga for Monk sign-and-trade to work, Golden State would have needed to part ways with either Hield or Moses Moody, something the organization had zero desire to do. The Kings checked in multiple times, most recently a week before Kuminga and the Dubs agreed to their 2-year contract, but things never trended in Sacramento's direction. It became clear to Perry and his front office that Kuminga wouldn't be theirs this offseason. Beyond Sacramento and Phoenix, the Chicago Bulls also expressed initial interest in the athletic forward at the start of free agency. Kuminga had been a player of interest for the Bulls for over a year, having proposed a deal last offseason that would have sent him to Chicago in exchange for Alex Caruso. However, these conversations at the start of this year's free agency never progressed, and the Bulls never made a firm offer. Both the Miami Heat and New Orleans Pelicans also held preliminary conversations with the Warriors about Kuminga. Again, neither team gained any real traction on pursuing a sign-and-trade, but this early interest in Kuminga has undoubtedly set the stage for what might unfold between now and the trade deadline in February. So, the future of Jonathan Kuminga, despite the new contract, remains shrouded in a captivating mystery. He's happy to be with the Warriors, or at least that's the message he's been diligently sharing. Money often has a way of resolving many issues between players and their organizations, and perhaps this is precisely what Kaminga wanted all along. Now that he's back in the fold and expected to play a key role in Kerr's rotations, perhaps he will indeed remain with Golden State long-term. While Kaminga and Kerr have reportedly clashed over his role through the years, the Warriors head coach made it clear at training camp that their relationship is not strained, and he doesn't anticipate Kaminga being a distraction. "I reached out to Jonathan quite a bit over the summer," Kerr stated. "I always operate this way. I am constantly talking to our players and reaching out, offering help. We got a good team. We got powerful leadership in the locker room. I've known JK for 4 years now. He's not that guy to come in and tear a team down. Jimmy is an alpha. Steph and Draymond are alphas. They run that locker room. I'm not worried about anything." All appears well for the Warriors. Kerr and the team have welcomed Kaminga back with open arms, and the business side of basketball is, for now, in the rearview mirror. Golden State is laser-focused on the upcoming season, and Kaminga has repeatedly emphasized his goal to help the Warriors win a championship. However, whether Kaminga will actually be around to help the Warriors reach the playoffs and push for that championship is a completely separate conversation. The primary reason the Warriors desperately wanted to avoid Kuminga accepting his qualifying offer, beyond genuinely wanting him as an integral part of their roster, was the complete dissipation of his trade value. Dunleavy and Lacob needed Kuminga locked into a contract in the $20 to $25 million range this season specifically so they could explore trades with that cap hit. Think of Kuminga's 2-year contract as an inflated trade exception. While Golden State would have been subject to base-year compensation rules in sign-and trades this offseason, meaning Kuminga's cap hit would only be 50% for matching outgoing salaries. Those same rules don't directly apply during the 2025 to 26 regular season. This means the Warriors can utilize his full $22.5 million salary and explore potential trade avenues involving Kuminga once he becomes trade-eligible on January 15th. Regardless of Kuminga's on-court performance or attitude, Golden State has effectively extended its trade window for the young forward beyond this offseason. Even if the Warriors don't trade Kuminga before the deadline and keep him through the end of the 2025 to 26 season, they could theoretically still pick up his option and use him as a trade asset again next summer. The bottom line is that this contract was absolutely essential to the Warriors' strategic plans, granting them significant maneuverability in the open market. Dunleavy and the Warriors' front office have multiple avenues to ponder over the next 4 months. Naturally, Lacob and the organization will always have their sights set on the biggest names who might become available in trade talks. We've all heard about Golden State's long-standing interest in Giannis Antetokounmpo, a situation the team will undoubtedly monitor closely in Milwaukee. Bam Adebayo, another All-Star in the East, would certainly be at the top of the Warriors' list of potential trade targets if he were ever to request a trade from the Miami Heat. In the West, the Kevin Durant ship has sailed with his trade and eventual extension with the Houston Rockets. While the Warriors explored a reunion at this year's trade deadline, Durant directly communicated with Curry that he didn't feel it was the right move for either party. It's also difficult to imagine Lauri Markkanen becoming a prime target again, given his $46.4 million cap hit this season and a $195 million contract that would be nearly impossible to navigate. Beyond the unknown of who might actually become available, perhaps those teams initially interested in Kuminga will reignite their conversations with the Warriors, depending on their standings come January. The Kings will likely maintain their interest, but the Warriors would need an irresistible offer to strike a deal with Sacramento, and a Monk-Kuminga swap seems highly unlikely to entice Dunleavy and Lacob. Then there are the Bulls and Pelicans, two other teams that previously held interest. Could players like Kobe White, Ayo Dosunmu, and Isaac Okoro be made available for Kaminga? And would the Warriors want any of them long-term? From the Pelicans' perspective, Herb Jones and Trey Murphy III are two players the Warriors have been linked to multiple times. If either were to become available, which seems highly unlikely given New Orleans' stance on Murphy, the Dubs would certainly be interested. But all these theoretical trade scenarios and potential options are, for now, just that, theory. The immediate reality is that Kaminga is back with the Warriors, and the organization envisions him as a key component of what they believe can be their 5th championship run since 2015. "We feel like we have a player who can be really good," Dunleavy affirmed. "I don't feel like there's a need to make a move. Now, we will see how the season unfolds. Around this time last year, I would have said, we need to get better. I don't feel that right now. I think we've done just enough to take us to another level. I'm really optimistic about this group." The dust has settled, and Kaminga is back to prove himself with the Warriors after the back and forth between his agent and the team. All the dark clouds and potential drama that loomed large for this organization have dissipated, and Kaminga's focus is on one thing and one thing only: pursuing a championship with the team he chose to return to. But as the season unfolds, will this unique contract truly cement Kaminga's place in Golden State, or is it merely a cleverly crafted bridge to an inevitable parting of ways? Only time will tell if this hard-won agreement is the foundation of a new era, or simply a strategic pause in a story still being written. What do you think? Is this the beginning of a long and fruitful partnership for Kaminga and the Warriors, or just a temporary truce before the next chapter of trade rumors? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you found this deep dive insightful, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more exclusive reports.